Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Little Ring Lamb. Today I have a book review on Heatwave by Richard Castle. This is a book that is based off the TV show Castle. So Richard Castle is the main character of the show, and he is a mystery novelist. And in the show's universe, he wrote a book called Heatwave, and it's an ongoing series. It's actually the last book that was published in the series. I don't know if it's the last one in the series, but the last one that was published was actually published, I believe, this past May. And I read this as a buddy read, Carrie, and her book blog I'm going to link in the down bar, so definitely go check that out. I was really happy I read this as somebody. She has just started watching the TV show. I've completed the whole Castle show, so I, know everything. I did want to start this before I finished it because I didn't know where the books kind of went off. I figured this one, because it can't, like in the book show world, it comes out around the end of season 1. So if you're thinking of reading this series because you want to pick up the show Castle, I would watch the first season before you read this book. This book review will be no spoilers, and also if you're new, my book reviews are just a refresher. I read books in 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of reading again, very soon, 5 out of 5, not so soon, 1 out of 5. So basically, this book is pretty much the show's universe, but with different character names. So Kate from the show is actually called Nikki Heat in this book, and then Castle is Rook, and then all the main players have different names as well. And basically they are solving a case about the murder of this high up real estate developer, Matthew Starr. They're trying to solve his murder case. He got thrown off a 6th floor balcony, and it's tied to all this other stuff. And yeah, that's basically the gist of the book. My copy is only 198 pages, so it's a very short read. So if I'm looking also down, I'm looking at my notebook. So plot, I gave a 2 out of 5. Now this is my second lowest rated book this year. I was going to give it a 1 out of 5, but it did have some good parts, some good action scenes, which were really intriguing to read, but it took a lot to push me to read this because it was so much like the show, and I knew it was kind of like fan fiction, like it was written like fan fiction. Nothing wrong with fan fiction, just when you're buying a book, sometimes you want to be a bit more polished, and this one had a lot of errors. And I know that, I'm not the best writer. I do have grammar errors, and usually when I'm responding to YouTube comments or emails or anything, as long as they're not professional, sometimes my grammar's not the best because I'm just rushing. I'm not writing an essay. Like, especially YouTube comments and messages, it's like, I'm not writing an essay. I'm just, I put periods in, I put commas in sometimes in the wrong places, and I know that. But also I'm not publishing a book at the same point, and this was published and had a lot of errors. So when I say that, I don't want you guys to think like I'm being hypocritical, because I do have grammar mistakes in some of my comments to you guys back and stuff like that. I'm not saying that by any means, but I'm also not publishing a book when I'm typing back to you in a YouTube comment. So I want to make that transparent, that I'm not picking on that from a place where I'm, oh, holy almighty, but when I'm reading a book and I even notice a comma in a wrong place, and quite a few times, and I'm not the best with commas. I sprinkle them in like they're on a cupcake. So, Also, two other things about the format of this book. They changed one character's name. The girl who plays Lainey in the book, which was Lauren, they changed her name in a sentence from Lauren to Laura, which I was like, really? And then they spelled the word app wrong. Like, they're like, oh, I got a new iPhone AP. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's always been double P. Like, maybe back in the day, but because this was not back in the day, but 2009. But I'm pretty sure apps always had APP. I did not look that up because I'm like, oh, maybe it was from the time, but I'm like, no, it can't be, because why would they just add an extra letter, an extra letter? They would take off a letter, because application. So I don't know. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm like, I don't even think that's real. So but the things I did like, so I'll go over, since I was really I'd rather watch an episode of the show and take the 40 minutes to do that than read this book. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with this series at this point. I might give the second book a shot and see how it is. I haven't really discussed this with Carrie because she has not finished the book yet. But at this point, if I'm going to buddy read it, I'd maybe give the second book a chance. But if I was going to be left to read it alone, I would probably not. I really enjoyed the show. This is not knocking the show, because I love the show. The 8th season and the finale wrap-up was a little dicey, but I still love the show regardless. The things I liked, I'll go on to that. I did like the action scenes when they came. They really reminded me of the show, and I really liked how the action scenes were written. They weren't written in a too complicated manner, because you know me, I'm not a big action person. It takes me more time to concentrate. But the one thing, that I really did enjoy was that they did capture some of the dynamics from the show. And I couldn't see Richard necessarily, like, the character Castle, writing this book, like, from how it's formatted and how the plot moved along. But I would see parts that he would change, especially with his relationship with, in the book, Rook's relationship with Nikki. I could see where he kind of put that in because he was wanting to pursue a relationship in the show. So for the show standpoint, I can kind of see that. And the audience can see that from the get-go, that these two are going to be, like, you know, star-crossed lovers. But, yeah, I had a lot of issues with this book. Characters, I also give it 2 out of 5. They were very flat and two-dimensional compared to the actual characters of the show. They didn't get developed really well. You got thrown into the plot and you just had to figure it out. If you had not seen the show, you'd probably be more lost. Since I have seen the show, I had the background knowledge to know all the characters and kind of their personality traits. But if you did not have that background knowledge, this would be harder to get into. I like some of the things, the characters. I really liked the only character stuff I really liked was the interaction between Rook and Nikki. I only liked that out of the characters, you know, coming up. Yeah, it was kind of weird to think about that. In the show, it's his character writing basically fanfic about his life, or like a warped view of his life, which was very interesting to think about as I was reading the novel. And cover, I give a 3 out of 5. This cover, I give a 3 out of 5 because it's just iconic to me because it was all over the TV show. Like, they do flash this prop quite a bit. But I just really like it too. Like, it's pretty striking. I think it's just because the TV show just brings back, like, nostalgia watching, and they have this, like, all over the set, and it's like, now I have my own little copy, you know? Except for this is way thicker. This is so thin. I got in the mail and I was like, jeepers. Suspense, I give a 1 out of 5. I pushed myself to read this. It took me 3 days, and that's 200 pages, and those days I wasn't super busy. But I pushed myself to read the last 100 pages in a day because I just wanted to wash my hands of it. So I gave it a 1 out of 5. The action scenes gave it that 1. I was going to maybe give it a 1.5 or 2, but they weren't enough to make up for the rest. And overall, I give it a 1 out of 5. I probably won't reread this. I don't know if I'll unhaul it. I think I'll keep it around for a while, because if I do continue out the series, I'd like to have the series together. But it's one that I'm just not crazy about, and that makes me sad because I absolutely adore the show. But this has been my book review of Heatwave by Richard Castle. If you're a fan of the show and you like mystery books and you don't care about the writing and stuff like that, you want to give it a chance, I would give it a chance. But if you haven't watched the show, this might be harder for you to get into, so just beware. And I would definitely watch at least the first season of the show before you read this book if you actually are interested in this novel. It wasn't a bad mystery, it just reminded me of a junior mystery more, not, because this is general fiction, reminded me of like a 14, 15-year-old perspective YA mystery. So, not to say that they're bad, but it's kind of like a more simple mystery. It's like a little complicated, but it's simple at the same time. It's not like Gone Girl or like a Gillian Flynn novel. So just beware that I'm not hating on this because it did have some good things, but just wasn't my fave. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.